Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome. It is a Sunday afternoon. Oh, I've got echo. Chocolate. Okay. All right. I'm trying to set it up so I can see comments easier when I'm sharing. I'm putting up two screens. Hopefully that'll help. We'll see if anybody comes by to watch me live. If not, we're just gonna go through it. And we're going to start at number 150, which is where we stopped in video 3. So this is video 4. If you're just seeing this one and you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, I'm looking at the Billboard Top 500 Pop Songs, Top 500 Pop Songs of all time as picked by their staff. I'll put the link, I promise this time, I know I've been forgetting, put the link in the description for you so you can go check out the list yourself. I've done 500 down to 150. Today I'll probably do about 150 to 75, and then I'll make one more video and we'll do 74 down to number 1. So yeah, we'll probably be on here for about an hour. Hopefully we'll get some people to come by and say hello in the chat. It is a live stream, so feel free, if you see this as a video, to come by when I do it next live and add in your own comments, etc. There's Ned. Hello, Ned. Ned has been in some of the previous videos with me, so he knows what we're doing here. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully other people will come by. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Now I've got, nope, it's thinking about it. Not yet. Now it went black. Mara's in here from Brooklyn. Hi, Mara. All right, hold on. Maybe I need to stop. I hope this works. Now nothing. Are you guys getting black screen too? Oh, I'm back. Okay. All right, let me try again. Here we go again. Share. Left off. It's thinking about it. Maybe I'm jinxing it by having two screens open. Oh, there it goes. Okay. It shows seeing Ned and Mara. Are you guys seeing black, or are you seeing me in the thing? Oh, I think it's there. Okay. Working now. Good. Okay. Just took a while. All right, great. Okay. So we're starting at 150 and we're starting with Eminem. I've talked a little bit about rap on the list, not a lot, and to do with the ads. Number 1 song for him, probably his most famous song from a movie. The movie is very good, actually. It's called 8 Mile, and it's an iconic song for sure. And it's right above. Okay, never mind. We'll just keep going. Okay. So if I should listen, of course, I thought that would help me. Okay. I just have to check in on the comments. There's 5 people in here, although one of those people was me, so we'll see. Anyway, 4 tops. Can't USA. Levi Stubbs doing the lead vocals. Levi would go on to do the voice of the killer plant in a great movie called Little Shop of Horrors, and they got him because of his just deep, great voice. And yeah, it's I love that movie. I love his performance. It's a stage musical as well, and I've seen it on the stage. Of course, his work with the 4 Tops is fantastic. All right, there's two Doobie Brothers, right? There's the Doobie Brothers that existed before Michael McDonald came along and joined the band, and then after. And the Doobie Brothers before, uh, they had some great rock and roll songs, they're not on this list. Obviously, this is a much more pop centric song. Michael has a very specific sounding voice, and he or keyboards in their music, and brought them even greater fame in a way. Not that some of their early amazing, but then you get this term yacht rock. So it kind of put them in that sort of Christopher Cross, Steely Dan. Steely Dan hate the term yacht rock, but yeah, this is in there. Michael McDonald actually did backing vocals on one of the big Christopher Cross hits. I think it was Sunning. I can't remember what the name of the song was, but he has a great voice. I like this song. I kind of prefer old school Doobie Brothers, but it's like old school Chicago for me is better than like Peter Cetera. Peter Cetera was a member of the group. He became kind of the lead guy in the 80s, and they became much more poppy. And I prefer old school Chicago, old school Doobies. All right. His wheelhouse here, Living on a Prayer. Couldn't escape them, even if you wanted to. They were omnipresent on MTV. Very, very handsome gentlemen. Very good musicians, and the thing we forget about sometimes now in the age of like AI writing and auto tune is, these guys could play. They were a good band. They were a tight band. Richie Sambora is a fantastic guitarist, and this song, it was inescapable. So I can completely see why it's on the list. Don't know if it would be in my top 100, but it'd probably be in my top 150, and they've got it at 146. So I think that's very understandable. All right, Jagged Little Pill for Alanis Morissette, and the biggest hit off that album is this one, You Ought to Know. Yeah, just aggressive female vocals at a time when that wasn't so common. And she was pretty young at the time, I think, too. She had tried to do some very poppy things and then just finally said, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. It really paid off. And I love Alanis. I think she is phenomenally talented. Her greatest hits album is one that I play a lot. I don't know the whole album sometimes, but Hand Over Fist and Everything, and she's just got hit after hit after hit that I just think are fantastic. So I completely see why this would be on it. Wouldn't be my top choice. I like this song, but I have other favorites from her. Talented. All right, just the hits keep on coming. So Ned and Mara are fine. Good. I don't think anybody else is with us right now. Just checking in. Coldplay, so I came to Coldplay in the early 2000s. I was really active in the comic book. I worked at a comic book store in the 90s, and I was going on to this is early days of like chat. Comic book publishers was a publisher called Oni Press, ONI. And before I moved to Japan, I was really active on their message boards. I bought a lot of their product. I loved their books. And I got to really know Jamie, the editor, and some of the other people that worked there. And Jamie was a huge Britpop fan, and he loved Paul Weller of the Style Council and the Jam. And I really loved, the English Beat and some of the New Romantic, Duran Duran. And he introduced me to Coldplay, actually. He sent me a burned disc of Parachutes pretty early on, just as Yellow was kind of making, waves on the radio. And that album, I think, is fantastic. And then, of course, this is their really big hit. I think this is their third album, right? The next album was Rush of Blood to the Head, which has Scientist and Fix You and just some other thing. I think they're fantastic. I know they've kind of gone off into this other realm now where there's sort of like, mom and dad rock or whatever. But I think those first three Coldplay albums are great. And this is a great song. Gets sung a lot at karaoke. All right. Oh, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try. Oh, okay. I guess they did what they needed to do. Ah, Ned used to work for a comic book distributor in the 90s. That's cool. Which one, Diamond or one of the other smaller ones? I worked for the Comic Gallery. That was the name of the shop in San Diego. We were at three locations. San Diego, obviously a big comic book town because of the Comic-Con. All right. Cardi B, of course I've heard of Cardi B. I don't know this song. Maybe I would if I listen, if I put it out, if I put it up on my Siri, but yeah, I don't know her songs. I know when she's guested on other things, but yeah, not my kind of music. Okay, now we're 59 here. Richie Valens, of course, famous for being on the plane with Buddy Holly when it crashed, and his career was cut tragically short. He was only 17 when this song came out. I think he was 18 or 19 when he died in the plane crash. And they made this movie about him in 1987 called La Bamba. And I thought it was really good. It's Lou Diamond Phillips. The band Los Lobos did a cover, and that became a huge hit. But this is the original. And yeah, one of the only Spanish language songs for the longest time, other than I think Feliz Navidad, that was ever a hit on the Billboard Hot 100. But now, of course, in the past 20 years, we've had many more Spanish artists or artists who speak Spanish get hits on the top 100. Okay, too low. So the Eurythmics are Cosmic Dream. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading comments. This is, to me, like when you talk about a pop song from the 80s, there's like 5 or 6 that are just like so emblematic of that era. And this is one of them. I think this, Every Years, which I expect to see on the list, some Michael Jackson, some Madonna, Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel. I don't know, there's just certain songs that I think are just, Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran. Just perfect little pop songs, and maybe a little Cyndi Lauper in there. But yeah, this is definitely one of them. It just automatically, when you start to hear that pumping synthesizer, and the video was amazing, her androgynous look, just fantastic. And I mean, she, of course, Annie Lennox is an amazing vocalist all on her own, but the combination of the two of them, again, it's a greatest hits album. I used to play that greatest hits album all the time, and this song continues, I think, to be amazing. Will forever be played. Okay, definitely be in my top 50. Little slice of pop because of the Who is she talking about part of the song. She's talking about Mick Jagger, she's talking about this or that. Very meta, very much of its time. You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht, the very famous first line. And you think this song is about you, don't you? Yeah, that's a great song. I like that choice. Okay, so here we come to the part where I have to kind of admit again that Billie Eilish obviously became very popular and famous right before the pandemic and in the past 5 years. And I just been so checked out of popular music. I have seen this video. I have heard this song. I don't particularly get it. I don't quite understand why this particular song. I've heard some other songs by her. She did one for the Barbie soundtrack randomly. Nice. She has a nice voice. I don't get why this particular song resonated so much and became such a huge hit. But I'm not 15, so I think within that, her and Taylor Swift and Drake, some of these really popular artists from the past, say, 10 years, Yeah, I don't quite connect to, but I can see why it's on here. I mean, it was huge, and she, of course, has gone me. She's huge, huge in the business. All right, Third Eye Blind song about, of course, it's such an upbeat song. The do, you know, the do do's and whatever in it, but it's obviously about a serious subject. Um, so, hmm. But yeah, Third Eye Blind. I'm trying to think. Did they have any other big hits? Somebody can let me know. Should be on here though for sure. All right. I mean, you know, you could pick so many different Elvis songs to be on this list. This one is certainly one that's been covered and recovered, and you know, UB40 it says here did it and got a number one with it. Um, yeah, it's just it's a fantastic, fantastic song. I wonder if he had anything to do with the writing of it. Yeah, I doubt it. I would pick some other Elvis. Oh, for that's a good pop side of Elvis song, as opposed to like, say, the more rock and roll side of Elvis, which is the part that I like. This is a song I didn't quite understand why Lauryn Hill's uh, album got number one on that Apple list a few years ago, but I like this song that she did with the Fugees, and of course, it's a remake of the great Roberta Flack song, and I like this, and I liked oh, they had another big hit, the Fugees, but you know, she sounds amazing on this song. I can see why it's on the list. And then African American female again, you know, the Beyonce, I knew her from Destiny's Child, and then I knew her at the beginning, and then I kind of checked out, and she went on to become this pillar, like one of the great divas of our age. And I don't really know anything about Lemonade and the Beyonce album and stuff like this, but this song, of course, transcended everything. They put it on, you know, that great parody with Justin Timberlake, where they're being the backup dancers on Saturday Night, and her performances of it for real at, you know, Coachella and things like that. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it was everywhere. I like it. I like it. I wouldn't turn that off if it was on the radio. Moves and art. Here's its absolute masterpiece. Robinson, of course. Um, and yeah, I mean, the Linda Ronstadt version is great. Aretha does a great version. Um, yeah, it's just, oh, chef's kiss. It'd be in my top 100. I think it's amazing, this song. All right. But, you know, get that. So, Sexy Back is a great song. I actually kind of like Rock Your Body and some of his other early solo hits, but you can't deny this, you know, his team up with Timbaland. Yeah, it is a great track, and his first couple solo albums I think are fantastic. He's kind of fallen off the map musically, but he's still kind of a very popular concert draw, and I think he you know, he's not a bad actor. Like a folk album, it didn't go over well, and then he tried to come back with like a very R&B hip hop album, and nobody cared anymore. So it's tough, you know. He's not the young guy he was when he was in NSYNC anymore. But this was his time, 2006, and yeah, it's a great track. Oh, it off. That's a good barometer. Yeah, I agree. Would I switch to another radio station if I were in the car and it came on? I don't, you know, I think that is a good barometer. You know, I often think about movies, like I was just talking to someone about the new Superman movie. And I'm like, yeah, it was good. I saw it twice at the movies just because I kind of feel like I missed a few things the first time I saw it, and there's not much to see. And but I'm not going to buy it on Blu-ray, and that's kind of that's the level, right? Like if I buy the movie on Blu-ray or even on digital to own, that means I really liked it. And so yeah, if I'm not going to turn the song off when it's on the radio, that means that's a pretty good song. Okay. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows this song. Billy Ray, Achy Breaky Heart Guy, Miley's dad, and I had no idea who Little Nas X was or how he would go on to kind of transform his kind of niche of hip hop. But yeah, country rap hybrid, why not? And then the fact that it made number one and it just was everywhere. Okay, you know, I think it'll be one of those nostalgia songs that doesn't get played a lot anymore. I can't really see too many people being like, "Oh, I love it." But it'll come up every now and then on like a best of the 2010s mixes and stuff, and people will be, "Oh yeah, I remember that song." Way higher. It'd probably be my top. Um, Don McLean, of course, a great vocalist, had "Starry Starry Night" about Vincent Van Gogh and some other songs, and then this song. Um, it's 8 minutes long. I remember buying the 45, which if you're young is like an album is like 12 inches, and a 45 was about 7 or 8 inches, and it had one side, and this was so long that it kind of trailed off after about 3.5 minutes on side one, and then you had to flip it on the vinyl to get the second half. They couldn't fit it all on one side of a 45 back in the day. Of course, you could buy the album or the cassette. You could have the whole song continuously, but it's just the story it tells. It's talking about Richie Valens and Buddy Holly dying in 1959. It has a great sing-along chorus, and it's talking about Dylan and the Beatles and the Stones, and there's so many references in it. You can unpack it for days and days. But it's a great song too, just to sing along to. So definitely in my top 100. Great track. Is Way Too Low. This is one of their best songs of all time. I'm a huge Beach Boys fan. It's up there with Good Vibrations, probably as the two greatest Beach Boys singles. This is obviously off of Pet Sounds, which is their album that everybody holds up as the masterpiece. Is an absolutely stunning record from start to finish. Lyrically, it would be in my top 25. I don't know which I'd put higher, this or Good Vibrations. They're both. Good Vibrations is like a mini symphony, but this is more like In My Life by the Beatles, where it just hits you at certain points in your life. You can't believe the depth of what he's saying. Brian, just musical genius. Got yeah. 130 is way too low. 130 is way too low. All right. Walk On By, a Burt Bacharach song, war song. That's a really good pop song. Borderline. Okay, we were talking to, when I talked about Madonna before, I was talking about, I wonder if I go up here, if I can get rid of, okay, no, it seems fine now. I was talking about, wasn't that this song? Oh, somebody asked Don McLean what it meant to him. Yeah, I don't have to work. Yeah, I mean, and people have covered it. Madonna has covered American Pie. Her version is awful. It's so bad. But he gets people do that. All right. So Borderline is from her first album, which I think is probably her best album. And it's just great dance pop. Lucky Star, Borderline, some of the songs first album. It's just called Madonna Madonna. Is great, and a great introduction to her. And she would obviously go on to have these and into the 90s. But yeah, this one's a good. I think 128 is good. All right. Oh, okay. Why it's 11 songs better than Little Red Corvette? I don't know. This would be in my top 50 for sure. I guess I should count up how many times I say that, and that would be my top 50. It's just so good. I mean, this and 1999 from the album 1999 are just so good, but I like this one even more. It says here it hisses with sexuality. It's got some very clever lyrics. And she took me to the place where her Trojans run free, and her ass is so smooth, she must be a limousine. I just think his performance on it, the way it grooves, it's just a fantastic, fantastic single. Um, and certainly blew my mind when I was 14 in 1983. And record 1990, I loved it. And of course, I was so excited for Purple Rain to come out. Wasn't even old enough to go see it when it came out because it was R rated and I wasn't 17 yet, but I got in. And I love that movie and I love that album. And I think we'll see some more Prince on this list, of course. But yeah, that's a great song. All right, like it's not a hip hop of this song. This is great. You can't deny it. Um, I think some of the misogyny on some of these early records when they're talking about women rankles me a bit, but I understand that that was part of the culture then. Just in the same way, other people have had bad stuff on some of their records, and they wouldn't necessarily put that on there now. But fantastic record, Dre and Snoop. Lady Gaga is interesting. Very much came up pan, and yeah, she. I didn't quite get it at first. All the outrageous outfits and the meat dress and everything like that. This is later. This is after her first big album, uh, but I liked this song. I didn't think it was great. I thought it just was too much of a ripoff of Madonna. I think it's very much "Express Yourself" or "Vogue." One of the Madonna songs is definitely the blueprint of this song, and so I'm not a huge fan of this, but I do like Lady Gaga now, especially as I've listened to more of her. She came out with an album right before she made that movie. What was the movie called? Born something, Born to be a Star. Star is Born. Oh my God, my brain. And right before that exploded with Shallows and some of the songs, she brought out an album and it had a lot of kind of acoustic. She has a great voice. She's a great pianist. Besides, being a great dancer and everything, she really is a talented individual. But yeah, this one's not one of my favorites. Mia Paper Planes, or it's the one with the gunshots in it. Yeah, just not for me. Daft Punk, I realize if you're gonna have a song on here that's positive, and yep, I mean, it's everywhere for a little while, and this is him dabbling with them. It's very, very catchy. So yeah, I like it. I wouldn't be in my top. Well, it wouldn't be my top 100. It's not in their top 100 either. One, Harry Styles, of course, I know this song though. So I know "Sign of the Times." I think that's the only solo song by Harry I know. So if you think I should listen to "As It Was" 122, let me know in the comments. I will give it a shot. All right. Mike's in the chat room. Hey, Mike. All right. Let's go over here. Oops. We're getting through it. We're getting through it. Yeah, I love this song. It's very much out of the Jim Steinman playbook. Jim Steinman, for you guys who don't know, is the man who wrote most of "Bat Out of Hell" by Meatloaf, which is a great over-the-top rock album. And this is another, just incredible, just bombastic. And Bonnie Tyler, to her credit, hits it out of the park. And it's been used in movies and other things so many times. But it is a great song, and you really have to have pipes to be able to pull it off. But yeah, it must have been so much fun to see her sing it live back in the heyday of 83, 84 when she was probably touring with it. Just great track. All right, Tom Petty. So of course, one of the best rockers of all time, but this is when he went a little bit more pop, a little bit more radio friendly, if you want to call it that, with his Full Moon Fever album, I Won't Back Down, and then Free Fallin', And yeah, just fantastic. I mean, it does feel like it's a real break from his sort of rocker, you know, style with the Heartbreakers, but it fits. I like an album he did next. Um, oh shoot, what's that album called? Is it called Wildflowers? No, it's called something. But anyway, you know, he's gone too soon. We miss Tom Petty. Great with the Traveling Wilburys. Such a distinctive voice. I love his music. This is, you know, not one of my favorite of his, but I enjoy it. Discography, but I would think there's so many other great songs you could pick from him. All right, okay, well, rock songs. Um, Huge early hit for the Stones, 65. I mean, what can you say? One of the best guitar riffs of all time. Great lyrics from Mick and Keith. Um, Easily, I could see why, you know, you get this type of a song in 65 compared to what the Beatles were doing. And some people would have gravitated more toward the macho aggressiveness of the Stones than sort of the more female centric music of the Beatles. But I don't really have, you know, is this better than the, you know, why can't we just like them both? I, of course, love the Beatles more, but I also really appreciate the Stones. I have some great box sets. I've been trying to listen to more and more of their full albums now that I have access to everything on Apple Music. And yeah, it's this would be in my top 100. It is an absolute classic. All right. Okay. Jay-Z, Alicia. The Alicia Keys part really sell it. I think Jay-Z is very talented, but obviously I don't know a lot about him. Again, my hip hop knowledge is not that great, but of course this song sort of transcended everything and went to number one, as you can see, in 2009. Even though I was living in Japan, I definitely heard it. I liked her first album where she did Falling, and you know, so I was aware of more of Alicia Keys probably than I knew about Jay-Z, other than he was a really popular rapper. And then when I heard this, I went, "Oh, okay, I get it." And the lyrics are very good in this song. I do enjoy this song quite a lot. Yeah, 118 is probably pretty good for me too. All right. Oh, Neil. All right. So Sweet Caroline, of course, now has been sort of co-opted by the Boston Red Sox, and people add in that kind of chant to it. But for me, my parents were they liked music, especially my mom, but they weren't trailblazers. They didn't have a big vinyl collection. I wasn't like looking through their records trying to find stuff in the 70s. But they had a lot of Neil and a lot of Barbara Streisand. They loved both of them a lot. My very first concert ever was a Neil Diamond concert when I was probably 8 or so, in the mid to late, no, it would have been around 77, 78. His Live at the Greek album, or Hot August Nights, I think is what it was called. Or was it Love at the Greek? Those are two different live albums, but both are great. I used to listen to those a lot before I had, you know, my own money to start buying my own records in the 80s. And so I love Neil. I love early Neil, especially. This came out the year I was born, but you know, it was on all the subsequent live albums and the greatest hits and all that. Great. You know, I just think he's so super talented and underrated, really, because you know he started to be much more of, you know, an AOR type of guy, but not AOR. Is that album oriented rock or adult oriented rock? Well, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, I have a lot of respect for Neil. So great track. I have some other Neil songs that I would probably pick over Sweet Caroline. Loves Traveling Salvation Show, I Am I Said, uh, Kentucky Woman, but Sweet Caroline is also great. Okay, Cyndi Lauper, Time After Time. When I was talking about perfect pop songs earlier, this to me is one of them. It's a more of a ballad, of course, than, you know, her catchy "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" and things like that. But I think this is just I just think it's a perfect pop song. Um, and she sings it so well. And yeah, it's just fantastic. I this would be in my top 50. Brandy and Monica is know that I could sing it to you, but I know that I've heard this, and I remember liking it. Okay, I mean we're talking about Men at Work, In Excess, U2, Duran Duran, The Cure. You know, and as opposed to there's also Phil Collins and Joe Jackson and Elton John and Elvis Costello and Bruce Springsteen and everybody else. But anyway, In Excess, huge kick. The album that this is off of is I think is one of those perfect albums. Every single song is great. You don't need to skip anything. This is just one of the best. Michael Hutchence had so much charisma. He was like Jim Morrison times 10. I just think he was so great, and it's such a shame that he's not here anymore. But yeah, I love this song. Definitely would be in my top 50. It's way too low here at 114. It's all right, no, nothing new over here. All right, so we're up to Michael Jackson. No problem. Did you have a post about it? I didn't see it. Yeah, and so when we talk about Michael Jackson, everybody talks about Thriller. And I actually watched a guy on YouTube recently. He's a young guy, he's probably 25, 26, who had never heard Thriller. So he listened to the whole album and he'd heard Billie Jean Beat It and Thriller, but he hadn't heard the album from song 1 to song 9. And he was saying that a lot of people his age probably haven't heard that album. And it seems so weird to me because that album was so huge. You can't even put it into words how huge it was. But this album before that one, this is Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. This is Off the Wall, and I think Off the Wall is his masterpiece. Yes, Thriller is a great album, but it's not start to finish as good as Off the Wall in my opinion. And this is his first obviously meet up with Quincy, and this Rock With You, She's Out of My Life, the title track Off the Wall. I have so many great songs on that album, and I love Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. This would be in my top 50. And I think that is the Michael Jackson album. And that run of Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, I think is one of the best 3 album runs in all of pop music. Just phenomenal. And you can see why he was called the King of Pop. All right. Oh, another these bands, although late 70s, the Cars started in the late 70s. Elvis Costello, Joe Jackson started in the late 70s. So it's hard to think of the Cars as an 80s band because they had some huge hits, but they had also really huge fame in the 80s. But yeah, the Cars debut album is almost a greatest hits album. It's literally got I think 6 songs that you hear still on the radio all the time. Just What I Needed is one of them. You could pick almost any song from that debut album, and I think you couldn't go wrong. Down to Moving in Stereo, just yeah, even some of the lesser tracks that you don't hear all the time. But anyway, great song, would be in my top 100 for sure. Probably I have 1 or 2 car songs I like a little bit better than this one even. But yeah, just great song, great band. Okay, 2013. It was everywhere. I get it. And it was different. It's unique. It's an earworm. But yeah, just not something I would listen to on repeat. I wouldn't turn it off. But it's not a song that I went, oh, I got to hear more of that. No. Okay. Well, place to get into. I think I'm going to stop today, guys, at 100. I'm not going to make it all the way to 75. Um, so, grunge and Nirvana and Pearl Jam and that whole coming of that change in music that happened in 92, 93. I was already in my early 20s, and my musical tastes, I think by the time you're out of college, I was 22 or 23 when this album came out. By that time, your musical tastes are kind of set. I'm not saying that you can't embrace new music or listen to other things and find interesting. I like this album. I didn't own it though. It was too loud and abrasive for me and what I like to listen to at that time. I appreciated this as a single, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I understood why people were embracing. But there's a few other songs on this album I think I liked better. And then I liked I think I the album I liked more was their next one, which is it called In Utero? And I believe it has Heart Shaped Box on it and a few other things. And then they came out with that Unplugged record, and that really made me reevaluate them because I went, okay, they don't have to just be loud. They are really talented performers, and Kurt is obviously magnetic. And then, of course, what happened to him. But their impact on music at that time, you can't even. We had MC Hammer in 1990, and we had like Bon Jovi and Rat and Poison and Motley Crue, and hair metal was huge. There wasn't a lot of pop. And then this came along and it just kind of like blew all that old stuff out of the way. And it really changed American radio. I don't know that I would call this a pop song. It's definitely, I guess you could call it power pop or punk pop, but I just feel like it's its own thing. Um, but I have since gone back, and of course, I know Nevermind the album now, and I appreciate Nirvana more now, I think 10 years maybe after the fact that I did at that time. All right. It's a very, these boots are made for walking. Nancy Sinatra, of course, famously Frank Sinatra's daughter. And yeah, been used in a ton of movies. And it is a great little piece of pop music from 1966. Absolutely deserves to be on this list. All right. Okay. And talked about before, but Huey which is not what this song is from, but their album Sports, I think, came out in 83 or 84. Such a huge album, four big hits. I Want a New Drug, and just, and then the songs they did for Back to the Future. This is the Back to the Future song that was supposed, I think it played over the end credits, and then it ended up on maybe their next album because they couldn't put out like a soundtrack for Back to the Future for some reason, even though they should have. Back in Time and this. And of course, Huey Lewis has a little cameo in the movie when he plays the guy judging the bands that, Michael J. Fox's band wants to play at the student concert. And he's like, no, you guys are a bit too loud. And, but I have a lot of respect for Huey Lewis. I think he's phenomenally talented, great voice, such a down to earth guy. Every time I've seen him in an interview, he's having a lot of hard times lately with something to do with his ears or throat that can't let him sing properly anymore. But he left us so many great songs, and this is definitely one of them. All right, Rihanna Buffett. So my sister was a big Jimmy Buffett fan, and she wasn't a parrot head. That's what they call his fans, is like really diehard fans. But she really liked him, and he would play, like the Texas State Fair and stuff, and she would go see him, and then he of course opened his own restaurant and all this stuff. But this is the signature Jimmy Buffett song. 106 is pretty good. It would maybe make the bottom of my top 100. It is just a pure slice of fun. It absolutely puts you in a summer mood the instant you hear it. So yeah, Wasting Away again in Margarita. I don't quite get the whole revival of this song when it became such a big deal, and then Weezer covered it. But yeah, I like it. It's good. I just don't get why it became such. I understand the first time it was kind of different and novel in '83, and Toto were a good band. They had a lot of good players. But why it came back again or something. I don't get it. But yeah, I like it. Wouldn't turn it off. George Michael Faith. All right. You know, we have to talk about Wham. And you know, I was, you know, again, my parents were English, so I had cousins who would send me tapes of the top 40 of England. They would tape the radio show that weekend. So I heard early Wham before they kind of made it in America, and I really liked them. And then, of course, he went solo, and this came out in '87. So this was my senior year of high school, and everybody had this album. Um, and it spawned like 5 singles or something. And this is just, you know, I respect that he came out with, you know, a very guitar driven. It wasn't sort of more poppy, and yeah, I have a lot of respect for George Michael. Just one of the best voices, like Karen Carpenter. You know, people used to shit on the Carpenters all the time, and I think people, you know, really gave George Michael or didn't give him enough of a chance. Kind of like Boy George. Boy George has a phenomenal voice. So does George Michael, and you know, I think this album and this song are both great. Yep, have a lot of time for them. 104 is pretty good. I think that'd be about where it would be on my list too. All right, the Black Eyed Peas. I gotta know this one. I know they're big hits. I think I know My Humps and this, and is this Tonight's Gonna Be a Good Night? Yeah, I think that's this song. I mean, you can kind of escape them for a few years. Yeah, it's fun. Wouldn't be in my list, but yeah, I like it. And I mean, how in this song, and I guess to an immortal song like What's Going On, way too low. Um, yeah, you know, it's top 25 for me probably. Just phenomenal song. What a voice Marvin Gaye had. Um, fantastic album it comes from. So yeah, way too low for this masterpiece. And then 101, bang, a hip, a hop, a hippity did hip. Yeah, you know, I remember Run DMC being huge. That I was probably in 10th or 11th grade, and I had a friend Chris who was really into rap. Um, and that album I got on cassette and Raising Hell, and we played the crap out of that album. I mean, we just listened to it. And this is obviously even earlier. This is like Grandmaster Flash, and this song it established the kind of genre, and it's groundbreaking. I don't know that it's as listenable to now as it was back then. It definitely feels very of its time and dated, but for historical significance, I think it deserves a spot on the list for sure. And it's still a fun song to listen to. But yeah. All right. And look at that. And that takes us to the end. And now we've got, as it says here, the top. We will go there. Oops. Okay. Am I back? All right. I'm back. So thanks for coming. Put that in the chat. Yeah, I don't know when I'll probably again it'll be next weekend, and we'll do the top 100. So maybe we'll stay on for about 90 minutes if we need to, just to wrap it all up. Didn't have that many that I wrote down, so I definitely knew almost all the songs that I wanted to know. The couple that I didn't know from the more recent times. Again, the goal of this is if you feel like oh Jason, you should definitely know that Cardi B song. You should definitely know this song that I mentioned. Leave it in the comments, and I will check them out. I did check out everything from video number 1. So yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming by. Have a good rest of your evening. If you're in North America, it's my Sunday afternoon, so I got to go grocery shopping. But I'll see you maybe in a week for the final video. Thanks. See ya.